More than 100 people abducted in Tuboro in the Adamawa region of the Republic of Cameroon since the beginning of this year. Security officials are stepping up the fight against rising insecurity in Tuboro and the rest of the Adamawa and the northern regions of the Republic of Cameroon. In the far north region, pregnant women and children are severely affected by famine. The situation is worsened by recurrent attacks by militants of the Nigerian terrorist sect Boko Haram, while in the far north region, or rather in the northwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, insecurity as a result of the 5-year-long armed conflicts going on in Anglophone Cameroon is increasing unpaid bills, piling up and weighing down on the Bamenda Regional Hospital. Details coming up next. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us at this news hour on Equinoxe Television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Bable Jonathan. I will begin this newscast in the Adamawa region of the Republic of Cameroon, where more than 100 persons have been abducted in Tuboro since the beginning of this year, and security officials are now stepping up efforts to turn down the rising insecurity in that part of the Adamawa and the rest of the region. Details in this report compiled by Charles Sekome.
The locality of Tuboro in the Adamawa region, which borders neighboring countries such as Chad and the Central African Republic, has recorded more than 100 abductions since the beginning of the year. It is for this reason that an army general by name Aga Robinson has called on different authorities to seek ways of solving this pertinent security problem. He was speaking during a 3-day security visit in Tuboro, Gaundal and Gaundere in the Adamawa region. The entire population of Tuboro have to work together in order for us to conquer criminality. We can't win this fight by working alone. That's why I urge every person in the locality to work hand in hand so that peace can be maintained in the region. The divisional officer of Tuboro, Elias Nonjigumen, has also applauded the general's effort to maintain security in the region.
Je crois que c'est la deuxième fois que le général revient pour que nous puissions réévaluer, c'est-à-dire la situation sécuritaire.
This is the second time the general is coming to assess the security situation in Tuboro. During our conversation, he filled our minds with positive news of security forces being deployed on the field to ensure our security. Despite our insecurity challenges, I think the situation is under control. The general also says he is satisfied with the work done on the field so far by his security elements. We are satisfied with the work being done on the field. We have galvanized and encouraged our men so they work in harmony with other forces of law and order, alongside the local population as well as with administrative and traditional authorities. We have assessed the security situation in Tuboro, Gaundal and Gaundere, and I can assure you all that we have the security situation under control in the Adamawa region. It should be recalled that the Adamawa, North and Far North regions of the country are constantly facing insecurity challenges, mostly due to raids by the Islamic sect Boko Haram. Hopefully, with the security situation being assessed by the army, these regions will finally embrace peace and stability.
And in Limbe, in the southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, insecurity is also on the rise within the context of the 5-year-long armed conflict in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. Several motorbike riders have been attacked and the bikes taken away by suspected bandits, and at least 2 deaths recorded in a short space of time. Details with Davidson Maimo in Limbe. Davidson Maimo with that report in the Limbe on insecurity insecurity in the town of Limbe, and he indicates that several commercial motorbike riders have been attacked and at least 2 deaths recorded within a very short space of time. And of course, security officials are now striving to step up efforts to stop the activities of those suspected men of the underworld. David Sunmaimu has more.
The seaside resort city of Limbe, said to be a safe haven as far as the ongoing Anglophone armed conflict is concerned, is gradually witnessing a rise in insecurity. A part of petty theft, such as pickpocketing, especially during market days, and burglary, attacks on commercial motorbike riders is becoming rampant.
Motorbike transporters that transport people from one place to another, they are killed on a daily basis because they kill them and collect bikes. People cannot even move. You cannot even go around to enjoy. We are afraid. Maybe you want to go somewhere, you may take them to another direction, go and kill.
2 weeks ago, a confrontation between commercial motorbike riders and the police almost went sour in front of the Central Police Station, thanks to some bullets fired by the security forces, as the bikers were insisting to lynch a suspect linked to the death of one of theirs.
The commissioner invited us on Tuesday to see the commissioner. He said we should write to him, that he will take it to the security meeting on Monday. They will discuss concerning an issue about the theft issue going around now in security concerning the motorbike.
Within 3 weeks, 2 commercial motorbike riders have been stabbed to death, 4 under critical conditions after being stabbed by men of the underworld with their bikes carted away.
We are suffering because of the security
of theft killing every day.
Even yesterday in the night, one bike man like that means the boy is in the hospital. We do not even know if he will survive. Because if they will catch one of them, the way they do kill our brother, that's how we kill him also. Show lesson for the others.
Some commercial motorbike riders are pushing blame to the administration, especially the council, to have hijacked the sector, suspending the activities of the union and syndicate, making it difficult to know all riders in the city and track down the perpetrators of the act.
Now we don't have any union. Now we can trace out the cause. Now
the increase in crime wave is attributed to increase in population due to the influx of internally displaced persons.
It's saturated, so you don't know who is who again. There are people sleeping in the street, sleeping in abandoned buildings. They just wake up in the night, they look for something to eat. So the insecurity is above us.
In an off-camera chat with the Central Commissioner and the company commander of the National Gendarmerie for Fako, both men assured the total security of the people and their property, while calling on the population to collaborate with the defense and security forces.
For us, the security that are put in place, they should change their strategy.
Security we are having is not enough.
Government has to put enough security in town, all the junctions in town.
Everything being equal, the call from the populace is an increase in security element to curb with security threat from the growing population.
And in the northwest region of the country, the problem of bills not paid by patients is weighing down on the Bamenda Regional Hospital, and the problem has been attributed to the unstable socio-political and security situation in that part of the country. Stella Mbu reports.
In January 2018 and March 2021, the total amount of abandoned bills at the Bamenda Regional Hospital by patients stood at 141 million francs CFA.
I wasn't expecting that my children would be in Nigeria, so it is quite challenging because to work and come and take care of the bills in the Navy is not an easy task, provided that the finances are not there.
The armed conflict rocking the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon has greatly contributed in the rising figures of abandoned bills since 2018.
When patients come to the hospital, they are treated and then we can follow up payments later on. But this one, knowing that the hospital has to do cost recovery, it has been very difficult because all this has gone, meaning that the pharmacy drugs have reduced. The number of reagents we cannot buy again. You know, this has been aggravated by the crisis. There are people who cannot undergo their petty businesses. They are ghost towns, so they don't work. And so you see that the amount of money they keep for the health of the household has greatly reduced.
Dr. Dennis Same, director of the Bamenda Regional Hospital, says this is overstretching the facility. The lack of these funds makes them unable to renovate the structures and restock drugs and other reagents, to name but these. He was speaking to Peter Cheney, mayor of Bamenda too, while on a visit with financial aid of 1 million francs CFA to assist some selected 64 patients pay their bills.
We cannot talk about construction of the northwest or southwest region when we have patients who are not strong. So we thought it wise that being local authorities, let us mobilize. Our job is to serve humanity. So we realize that we have patients, people who are suffering from far and near because of displacement and the rest don't have sustainability. So we have to come in and assist.
The Bamenda Regional Hospital currently has no pediatrician, cardiologist, gastroenterologist, radiologist, and no orthopedic surgeon. Also, the hospital has just 3 out of the required 30 ward medicines. Opened in 1956, the Bamenda Regional Hospital is in urgent need of rehabilitation of its wearing out structures to an estimated amount of 425,900,000 francs CFA and 380,029,000 francs CFA for equipment.
The manager of a cryptocurrency agency has been arrested here in Cameroon's economic capital Douala by officers of the 2nd Gendarmerie Region and Security Forces. Accused the man for failing to meet up with his promises to the agency's numerous subscribers. Smanjikan Gabriel has more.
At the 2nd region of Gendarmerie in Bonanjo, a young man who has been acting as the Director General of a cryptocurrency agency was arrested after failing to meet up with the promises made to his numerous subscribers. But how does this online business functions?
En fait, vous avez des souscripteurs qui viennent souscrire.
Subscribers come with cash that will be later transformed into the shy point that will enable a subscriber to buy online within the platform.
Ce shy point nous permet de faire des achats sur la plateforme qui a été créée. Au moment où
when the platform was put in place, they said after 10 days you can get your profit, and the more you bring in other subscribers, so too you have an increase.
Mais les bénéfices, vous les avez, les gains, vous les avez, et au fur et à mesure que vous amenez des souscripteurs, vous êtes rémunéré à hauteur du nombre de souscripteurs que vous avez fait entrer dans la boîte.
Unfortunately, nothing for the subscribers till now.
La plateforme parce qu'ils ne peuvent plus entrer en possession ni de leur argent, ni entrer en contact des initiateurs du projet.
With several millions still to be given out to the subscribers, those still wishing to join the online business are warned.
Je leur demande d'éviter.
I am asking them to stay away from online trading because they might become victims.
Compromis comme ceux qui sont des victimes actuellement.
About several millions are gone into thin air.
Ils prennent des dispositions parce que
life isn't easy because you could be lured to drop a huge amount and at the end you lost everything.
15 millions, à moins de 2 mois vous aurez 16 millions. Donc c'est ça à éviter.
It was thanks to several complaints received by elements of the 2nd region that an investigation was launched. This led to the capture of the Director General.
Now back to the northern regions of the Republic of Cameroon. Pregnant women and children are severely affected by famine in the far north region, and this problem has been worsened not only for these categories of persons but for the entire population of the far north region by recurrent attacks by militants of the Nigerian terrorist sect Boko Haram, and maize of the far north region are now raising funds to solve this problem. Details with Equinoxe.
Children below the age of 5 and pregnant women are the most group of persons affected by malnutrition in the far north region. The situation is gaining grounds due to the hostilities in the past few years. Among other factors, the war against Boko Haram, in a bid to find solutions to this setback. Mayors of the various subdivisions assembled and agreed to raise a special fund to help the suffering population. However, means put in place by the mayors remain insufficient.
Par rapport à cette préoccupation,
our community has been severely affected as a result of hostilities which have displaced communities in Kolofata subdivision, Waza, and many others. These displaced persons cannot afford 2 square meals daily. Right now, we beg the city council to intervene.
La commune, elle seule, ne peut pas, d'autant plus que toutes nos activités économiques sont au ralenti.
It is urgent and wise for us mayors to fit in their shoes, work with them to overcome the malnutrition that is becoming common in the region. Apart from maize, the populations are sensitized and trained on how to cultivate other farm produce so as to have equitable variety.
La pauvreté est en train de vivre et en train de
Poverty is affecting the whole of Kolofata subdivision because there is no economic activity that can help the situation.
pallier à ce manquement.
Nous avons, avec l'association, l'implication des élites,
we have initiated a food diversification program. I can assure you that this year we have had a big problem of evacuating some produce like onion, for example, and everyone had access to tomatoes throughout the year.
Et bientôt, tout le monde également aura accès aux divers fruits.
No matter the challenge, I believe this is a durable solution.
Il faut avoir le courage de commencer. Je pense que c'est ça la solution durable.
Out of the 47 mayors in the Far North region, only 27 answered present in the consultation meeting. The absentees have been invited to join the wing that aims at blowing away malnutrition in a region that has not known peace for several years due to repeated Boko Haram barbaric attacks.
Mourners who turned out to bid farewell to the moderator emeritus of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon, Reverend Dr. Nyansako Nico, have been told to be steadfast and to emulate the example of the late servant of God, and the call was made by the Synod Clerk of the PCC, Reverend Mickey Hans. During the sermon he preached at the funeral of the late man of God. The service to bid farewell to Reverend Dr. Nyansako Nico took place at the Presbyterian Church, Kumba Town, in the presence of top officials of the state. Before the burial of Reverend Dr. Nyansako Nico, he was decorated posthumously by the state. Let's now listen to some of the mourners.
Reverend Dr. Nyansako Nico was not just a moderator for the PCC, he was a father to many pastors across the globe, you can say. He has touched lives through his sermons, through his write-ups, through his visitations outside the country. He has been able to impact the lives of young pastors to think outside the box. He always said, hold the Bible in one hand and the newspaper on the other hand. He said you have to be informed. And one thing that is peculiar about him that we're celebrating today, he said you have to name the demons and call them by their names. He was a no-nonsense preacher. He was a man with a prophetic voice.
The little I would say is that if you see a young person like me, age 35, come all the way for his funeral, it is because his works, his goodness, touched not just those of his generation, his age group, but it trickled right down to a boy like me who was only a student in Form 1, PCSS Boya, at the time he was senior clerk of the PCC. Least I would say is like the preacher of the day has said, the senior clerk. We should all try, as we've come in great numbers, to bid him farewell. We must endeavor to emulate him. But while doing so, each of us should work for his or her salvation.
What is going to change in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon with the appointment of public conciliators. The decree appointing the two public conciliators, independent public conciliators in those two regions, was made public yesterday. The decree signed by the President of the Republic, Paul Biya, and we're asking the question today, what is going to change? We put this question to Barrister Achu Julius. Take a listen.
Final positions which is going to be occupied when it comes to our decentralization, because the special status that has been given to the Northwest and Southern regions merits the presence of this person, this public independent conciliator. He is supposed to be there for troubleshooting, trouble solving, and actually take some of the shock before it goes out, before it becomes vulgar or it becomes a major issue. So his role is to temper down some problems, get an amicable settlement so that everybody really living him should be happy. But don't forget, he's going to have a team of special experts to work with, to investigate. You have lawyers, you have, I'm sure, policemen, you will have a lot of specialists. And I think that he runs about 6 or 7 commissions with specialists that are going to man each of those commissions. So he's like the boss who reconciles the information that he gathers from the members of his commission. So coming to the persons, I think, to the best of our knowledge, those guys are independent persons. I know personally Mr. Tamfo. I've not seen him yet in a political party, joining a political party or trying to manifest as a politician. In any case, I reserve my comment on that because I know him as somebody who's carried out, who has served the state, who's worked for long and has taken his retirement or is out of public service. That makes him free of any possibility of being influenced or whatever. There's nobody informed in this country like the presidency about each and every Cameroonian that we have here. They have their security reports. They do fast check. They do background check. They try to find out who are you and what you're capable of doing and things like that. So when
Julius, member of the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, CPDM political party, speaking there, we put the same question to a political analyst, Dr. Nick Nguyen, who says that Tamfu Simon Fai, independent public conciliator for the Northwest region, and Atabon Dorothy Motaze, independent public conciliator for the Southwest region, have to do their work squarely for things to change. Listen to him.
The idea has been that after the major national dialogue, after putting in place of the decentralized units and then the appointment of these people, might be peace will return and life will come back to normal. It's our hope that these two persons that have been appointed, they would spend time to sincerely try to understand what is going on and not just play politics, know how the people feel, know what the people want, and then be that reconciliator, between the people and the government. Because more often than not, our elites who interact between the people and the government, they tell a lot of lies, and that's why we are in so many problems. But I know my brother and friend, Mr. Tamfu Simon. He's a very hardworking person and straightforward, and I'm sure he's going to tell the powers that be what exactly the people want, and then make sure that the administration does not keep breathing down on people's throats, because that has been one of the major problems, and that he would understand what bad governance is and try to help people overcome that pain of bad governance. I think if there's anything, and people have been suffering a lot and complaining, the issue has been that of bad governance. So they are not just going to sit in their offices and get locked and bogged down with little things, and they are not going to be working with a CPDM mentality only. No, they have to be broad-minded and look at everybody. After all, we are 350 political parties in Cameroon.
And that's it for the first part of this newscast. Talking Point is up next. Thank you for staying with us in Talking Points. Today we are receiving a young woman, an example of a dynamic, industrious, hardworking and determined young Cameroonian, full of inspiration for young people, especially young women. She is a mechanic, ICT, that is Information and Communication Technologies, and electronic engineer, and an agripreneur. As a lecturer in some higher institutions of learning in the town of Douala, she teaches structural programming, factual programming, management of computer projects, database information system, and advanced data structures. She is our guest today. Dorian Guewo, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Mr. Babila Jonathan. It's a pleasure for me to be with you. So thank you for receiving me.
You're from a very humble background, and you have been able to push through to the top from that humble background. Tell us about your beginnings.
To start with, I wouldn't say I'm already at the top, because where I'm heading to, in my mind, at times I'm really scared. Scared. But to talk of, I grew up in the village. That's from a very, very difficult background, because I must say, where I'm coming from is below average. Really below average. But notwithstanding, I always told myself I want to get somewhere. I know I lost my dad when I was 6 years old. It was not easy, because I grew up going to the farm. Like, I had to go to the farm to be able to pay my school fees, my textbook, my books, everything. But I had in my mind, I remember at the age of 10 years, I told my mother that I am going to make you proud of me, because my dad died when I was 6 years old. So it was not easy at all. But from there, I remember secondary school, I was not actually into school, because at times I was going to school, going back to the farm, because we're doing puff bars. So I used to go to school. After school, I go to the market, buy ingredients, flour for the puff bars that I will do after. So even book, I was not really into the book stuff. So I remember in Form 3, I said, I'm in the village.
You did that through your primary education?
Yeah. In Form 3, that's where everything changed in my life. I said, I have two possibilities. Either I'm into the farm, or actually I get into studies. So I said no. At that time, I did not really like the way we're doing farming, because I remember going to the farm, we'd come back at 6 p.m, at times 7 p.m. At the end of the day, you don't even see the result. I said, no, this is not what I want. With this, I'll never be rich. So that's where
farming with crude tools, and
seriously crude tools,
very poor methods, and thus the yields were very, very small, little or nothing coming from the farms, and that pushed you to start thinking about agriculture.
Of course.
Mechanized agriculture.
That time even, I did not really actually think about agriculture. I went into school. But when at university, I said, how will this school actually help me concretely? I said, okay, this is where I'm coming from. These are the opportunities that we have in our country. But now how can I leverage schools to actually impact the society? I said, okay, something that I've grown up with is going to the farming. I say, now how can I use school to be able to actually transform agriculture? That's where I went to mechatronics engineering, that's mechanized agriculture, which I'm going to push further, even a PhD and all the rest. So that's how the story started.
Okay, you were motivated by the crude manner of doing agriculture with your mother in the village and so on, to start thinking about doing agriculture otherwise, and so you went into you started thinking about becoming an agripreneur. But before that, tell us about you as a mechatronic engineer. How did you get into this? This is more or less a male-dominated field.
Male-dominated field? No. And actually, this is one of my concerns. Women can do wonderful things. Women can do wonderful things if they are given the opportunities. I remember even in school with my classmates, boys, it was not easy, because at times they have this feeling that even if they work as a team with ladies, the you will not be it. But with us, because I remember I was first of all even in departments, that's departmental association, so actually prove to the men that we can do something. If we work as a team, if we work together, hand in hand, we're going to do something extremely good. So it's not mechatronics for me, and I wish to say to all the ladies out there, if you want to do something, no matter what it is, if you give yourself the target objective, you work hard for it, no matter what it is, no matter how hard it is, you can make it.
No matter how hard is it, you can make it.
Yeah.
How has it been, your training as a mechatronic engineer, right up to the level where you're now lecturing in some higher institutions of learning in the town of Douala? Your training, how did it go, your training?
Okay, my training, actually, I first of all started in the Anglophone section. Later on, I went to the Francophone section, which was not actually easy. That's there at Polytech. It was not easy. Most of the lectures was in French, and at times I was so confused, but I had an objective, I had a goal, so I had to, at times I slept in school actually, because I still had this passion for agripreneurship, for entrepreneurship, and also I had school, because even when I was doing my mechatronics engineer, I was already lecturing in higher institutes, because I started first of all in the secondary level, I went to the higher institutes. So to be able to manage that, I had at times to sleep in school, I had to manage my time, so it was not easy at all, but as I said, since I had that objective, I had that determination, I made it.
Determination and hard work. And now you're lecturing in some higher institutions of learning here in Douala, structure programming, factual programming, management of computer projects, database information system, and advanced data structures. Too many things there.
Yeah, these are all the courses, and that's some of the courses that enter into the field of software engineering, because I'm in the Department of Information and Communication Technology into software engineering. And now when we talk about software engineering, after that we have these courses, but it's not all the courses of software engineering. We also have, in the Department of Computer Engineering, we have software engineering, we have information system, we have also network, we have telecom. So since in my training, because my training is really powerful, it's a combination of three fields. That's mechanical, we have information system, that's we can talk about computer engineering. We have also electronics. So with all that, it shows that I decided, okay, I want to focus into this higher institute in the Department of Computer Engineering. But I could still go as well in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, the Department of Information, in the Department of Electronics. So that's the higher opportunity and the advantage that mechatronics give maybe to somebody who just did mechanical or somebody who just did telecom. But notwithstanding, you have a combination and a bit of this theory department. So because my specialization is embedded system, today I can be able to work in an automated industry. That's because now, as I said, the key behind mechatronics engineering is doing things automatically, because we don't want to be doing things manually as we used to do in the village or in the past. We want to now go into
using the machines.
Yeah, machine automated systems.
Right now, when you got into studying all of these specialties, studying in all of these domains, did you face some challenges linked to you being a woman?
I would say yes and no. Yes, because as a woman, when you're in the STEM field, it's not easy. That's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It's not easy. And at the same time, I would say no, because no matter the challenges, I always told those guys that if I'm here, it's to make it. So even if you want it or not, I'm with you. I'm going to work with you. And the time when they thought that I could not do it, I had to put double effort to show them that I could do it. It's true, not all the time I was at the top, but I did not give up, not at all. So the challenge is like yes and no, depending on actually if you want to accept the challenge and give up, or if you want to admit the challenge and go beyond that. So.
What was your driving force? You know, many young girls, young women would find themselves in some of these situations, some of these challenges, and some will give up along the way, some will switch to another domain, some will switch to maybe domains that have to do with probably literature or another less difficult, so to speak, fields. What was your driving force? What kept you going?
What kept me going? When you're coming from a tough background, as I said, below average, if you're not coming from a rich family must come from you. And
that's interesting. If you are not coming from a rich family should come from you.
Yeah, of course. And for me, that's my driving force. Because I've always told myself I will succeed no matter where I'm coming from. I am not expecting for things to be easy. No. When things are even so easy, I am afraid. That's why instead going to difficult domains, like I know it's going to be hard, it's going to be challenging, I'm going to fail. I fail, but actually I don't give up. So my driving force is my background and also my aspiration and my dream. My dream as a woman, my dream as a Cameroonian, and my dream as an ambassador, as a woman of impact. So that's my driving force.
As a woman of impact, and I hope that you're making impact in the lives of some young women who are listening to us today. And now, as a lecturer in higher institutions of learning, how is it like to be lecturing in these fields?
As a lecturer, at times you come and lecture students which you find that they are your elder brothers and sisters. I remember my first day in one of my courses, I tried to introduce myself and I asked the students to introduce themselves. I had one student who told me he had his advanced level in 1994. I was like, wow. I just said, okay. I just told him that it's good, you are humble. So if you actually go to lecture and you don't have this high esteem of you, that's the first thing, even before coming to what you know. Because you need to tell yourself that you are going there to give a part of you, what you know. Now, the second thing, you have to make sure that you know what you're going to give and you know what you have to impact or to teach the students. So the challenges there, it's not, for me, my particular situation was not that high, because I always make sure that what I have to do or what I have to teach, I make sure that I know them. And if in class maybe a student asks me a question and it happens I don't know, it's not as if you know everything. No, I tell the student that, okay, you see, this, I can give you a hint, because what's sure is that if I'm there to teach, I cannot be blank. I can give you a hint. Now I say, okay, you go and search for this. I will go and have a complimentary explanation for the next class. So that's what I do at times. And in my class, it's more of, I teach you the computer engineering, but also I have one, for me, I want to impact you, because having the certificate is one thing, but now having an impact in the society. Because even one of the programs I proposed to the director was to introduce entrepreneurship courses to the students. Actually say, because there are students that are doing software engineering, but their passion is music, their passion is boxing. I told them, okay, this is your passion. Since your parents have paid for your studies, you come here and give the best. But not behind, if you can have 1 hour or 2 hours per week to put in energy in your passion. And also you use what you have here in school, because now information and communication technology, you are open to the world. If you like to do boxing, you can do boxing and open yourself to the world. If you like to do music, because for me it's all about passion, but doing the best and being the best in what you're doing. And with communication and information and communication technology and the other field is actually possible.
Certificates are of course important, but it is not all about having certificates and running around with certificates, but it's about making impact. It's about doing something that will create an impact in society.
Yeah. Actually, the certificate is not bad. I've not said it's bad. It's not bad. But behind the certificate, you should have an objective of creating an impact for yourself, because when you do something that you love, you don't have the feeling that you're working. At times I don't have a TV in my house. I don't have a TV because when like a program like this, I watch on my phone, because at times I say, okay, because there are a lot of like the news, I listen to them most of the time, but on my phone. For the TV, I say, okay, no, I don't want it. But I have specific programs that I listen to, like this news and other programs. I say, okay, this is how I organize myself. Today I do this, today I do that. But the key point, and what I wish to say to the student out there, is that actually, please don't go to school because you want to have the certificate, but go to school in order to have the certificate, orientate the certificate and the knowledge to your dreams and your objective. You can do agriculture with, you can have PhD and you do agriculture, but you do agriculture in the best manner possible. So.
All right. Now, as an agripreneur, how did you get into that domain with your engineering ambitions, and then you got into agriculture again, carrying the two along at the same time? Has it been easy?
No, it has not been easy at all. But as I said, from my orientation, like where I come from the village. That I've grown up in the village, so that agricultural spirit has always been in me. It's true that at times when they see me in town, they cannot believe, but no, it's just how I adapt myself according to the context. I have grown up in the village, so that agricultural spirit has always been with me. But now, as I said, I do not want to do agriculture in that crude manner because it's tiring. And at the end of the day, the result is not it at all. But I said, no, okay, how can I use technology? And when I did my research, the best way I could do was mechanized agriculture. And I said, okay, in Cameroon, what do we offer? What do we have? I said, okay, we have mechatronics, but we can go further. So I said, okay, I start with what I have, so that later I continue to where I'm aiming.
How far have you gone, and what are your ambitions?
My ambitions, I can't say I've already attained 5% of my ambitions. I can't say that, because my ambition in the next 5 years is to actually have a company that's a public limited company in agribusiness in Cameroon, that's transformation of fruits and fruit powder into transformation of fruit into fruit chips and fruit powder for baby pap. That's just the first aspect of my company. So for me,
you're already doing that, but at a
very small
scale.
Yeah. So the ambition is actually to grow into a big company with partners, that shareholders, into a public limited company, so that at maybe in 5 years time, that we can actually impact the gross domestic product of Cameroon and reduce the environmental impact that waste fruits has in the environment. Like now, this is the mango period. If you look around, you see mangoes everywhere. It's somehow nasty and it's a waste. Meanwhile, when we transform them, actually we have an added value, and at the end of the day, we have money. So.
Right. From you, let's open up to talk about women emancipation and entrepreneurship development. This is an area where there is relatively low interest as far as women in Cameroon and other African countries are concerned. You are coming in to boost interest, to help people to get into this domain, to become active in this domain of entrepreneurship, notably women, and also to become financially viable and independent. What are you looking at?
Please, I want to say something. When we talk about women emancipation, the men out there are saying, don't come and intoxicate the woman. No, that's not what I'm talking about. For me, I think that when you are alone, you go fast. But when you are with a group of people, when you guys are together, you go far. So I think if we try to bring the woman to emancipate herself, to actually believe in her talents, in her capabilities, she can work and come and complement the men. And women, honestly, as a woman, at times when I want to search in me, there are things that I know that they are in me that I've not yet explored. So talking about women emancipation, I really want the women to believe in themselves and to actually work very hard. But when I say believe in themselves, it's to believe big, because I'm seeing even my friends, they are believing in themselves, but actually they don't think that they can. Their limit is low. The limit is not really high. When they say shoot for the moon, even if you miss it, you land among the stars. So that's actually what I'm talking about. I want the women to get into entrepreneurship, not entrepreneurship that you're actually doing something new, but you should actually aim for the moon before actually things limit you, so that you land among the stars. So don't limit yourself, not at all. And really the women, because this is one of my advocacy, I really wish that the women should believe in themselves. It's not actually getting financially vibrant to compete with the men, no, to complement and to build Africa, to build the world. Because that's what we're talking about. The percentage of women is more than 50%. If all those women are dormant, that's how can we get to development? So I believe that the women have a great role to play in the development of Africa, and that's one of the books I'm writing right now, African Women and Development, because I believe the women, they have a great opportunity and a great contribution to bring to the development of Africa. And together with the men, I know we are going to go very far.
All right, you're encouraging your fellow women to think big.
Yeah.
But you know, there is usually a barrier that comes along when you're thinking big, when you're looking far up there, and then you have other things around you that are pulling you, some realities, like you were mentioning your background earlier. This example, for example, in the Bible, where God calls Gideon a mighty man of valor, but he says, how can God call me a mighty man of valor when I come from a small family and I'm the last in that family, like you are the last born, and so on. And there's this mentality that is always around, standing like a barrier. How to overcome these realities, how to overcome these ideas that are always popping up in your mind when you want to think big. You're thinking of billions, and then your mind is telling you you've never seen 500,000. How can you be thinking of billions?
Actually, it's funny to me because that's my reality. Actually, at times when I think about billion, I'm scared because there are some times I don't even have 500 francs in my pocket. As I said, it's not all about where you're coming from, but where you're going to. You need to acknowledge where you're coming from, but you don't have to let where you're coming from to limit you. No, you will always have challenges, because at times I'm in my room, I cry. The difficulties are too much that I say, what is happening? I want to give up. But all over my room I've written, giving up is not an option. I will fail. I know I will fail. If I don't fail, it will be surprising. I know I will fail. But giving up is not an option. So you acknowledge where you're coming from. You acknowledge the realities, because if you want to run away from the realities, you will not go. I know that things are going to be difficult. I know it's going to be hard. In fact, I'm prepared. Psychologically, I'm prepared. But in my mind also, that's personal development. I know that what I want to get, where I'm heading to, it's the advantage for me, for my family, for the country, is higher than the difficulty. Because actually giving up is not even easier. I think if you want to feel free, you need to, when you are not doing anything, the difficulty is not there. But actually when you start with a project, that's where difficulties start. So actually, when you have a dream, when you have an objective, there will always be barriers, if not realities around you, even external people. Because when you start growing, people will say, I was expecting that man, that lady to be a nothing. How come she's... People always want to come and put barriers. But as you said, if God called Gideon, it means God knew what he had put in Gideon. It means that if God have called me or you, he knows that you have in you the capabilities to do what he wants you to do. It's not going to be easy. The difficulties are going to build you, but it will never be there to bring you down. So
thank you very much. Thank you, Dorian Wewu.
Thank you.
Mechatronic engineer and agripreneur. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me here. It's a great pleasure, and I'll always be willing to be back again because we have a continent to build. Africa is ours.
Right, thanks ladies and gentlemen for staying with us. That's it for this weekend edition of the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinoxe Television. Equinoxe Soir is up next.